and welcome to yet another episode of Inspiring Leaders and Leadership, Season 2, Episode 3 by Advantage Club. I am your host, Smiti Bhatt Deorah, and I'm the co-founder and Chief Operating Officer of Advantage Club. And today we have with us an amazing person. We have Girija Shetty, who is the Associate Director for People Excellence at Amagi Corp. Welcome, Girija, to the show.
Thank you so much, Smiti, for having me here. It's my pleasure being here and sharing my experience. Thank you.
We're super excited to have you, and let's get this kick started.
Sure.
To start off with, of course, we know a lot about you, but can you tell our viewers a little bit about your background, what you do, what has been your journey into reaching at this position where you are today?
Okay. So, I hail from a small town called Belgaum, and I spent most of my life there, including my studies and a major part of my career. I started my, after my graduation, I had few career options to take up higher education. So I decided to go the management route, did my MBA in Belgaum itself. And I think thankfully I had a great start in my career with Thermax Limited, which kind of gave me a good base or foundation, like I would say. 2 years of Thermax taught me a lot in HR than probably I would have studied in my MBA. Then after my stint with Thermax, I moved back to my hometown because, of personal reasons, I was going to get married and, a lot of other things in life were happening. So came back here. I had a short stint with a local manufacturing company initially. And then I took a 6-month break to help my husband in his business and also taught in undergrad courses for some time. And then, I think a major turnaround in my career happened with Quest Global, right? Where I spent 11 years of my career. And probably I think the best thing that happened to me in my career was my role there. I just grabbed the opportunity as soon as I got it, and I started as the HR business partner for Welcome Center. And soon enough, I just started getting one opportunity after the other. They, after Belcom Center HRBP, they added few more centers to me. Then I got to move to Trivandrum for 1.5 years. I left my husband behind in Belgaum. I went to Trivandrum all by myself for a post-acquisition integration role. And I think, that kind of turned things around for me in my career, where I moved out of HR business partnering, got to do, large scale projects for the organization. I could see the impact my role was having on the business throughout my journey at Quest, right? And then moved into performance and rewards for a bit. Then thankfully, with the kind of opportunities Quest provides, I got an international stint in the US for 1 year. Did a regional HR role for Quest in North America. Came back to India, and then I moved completely into rewards role, while on the side doing sales HR BP for some time. And then I also got to do HR M&A projects for a bit. So, I think with Quest, double hatting roles was one good thing, right? You could do your regular role and then take on special assignments as you grow. So I think that kind of helped me probably reach the stage I am in my career, learning with various roles that came across.
No, that's great. And I think you mentioned a very important point around learning various roles and doing multiple stints across your career, which not only helps you learn and, kind of understand more things, but also kind of grows you as an individual. So it's really interesting because a lot of people, they feel otherwise, right? They feel that you pick a specialization and you stick to that domain and you don't waver from it. Otherwise, it's like a horizontal switch instead of like a vertical switch. But in your case, the horizontal piece has actually worked beneficial for you.
Yes, I think that kind of helped me get my future roles, right? I did a short stint with Medline. Then I took up the role in Amagi, which is, which kind of helped me step up as a leader in the organization. I lead two departments here as compensation and I lead the rewards and the HR operations team here. So I think the foundation of this experience horizontally is what kind of prepared me for to step up the ladder, if you would say.
Yeah, and not just in terms of roles, I also feel in
Hmm.
terms of industries, right? I mean, you were first in manufacturing, and then Quest was kind of a cusp between industrial and
Okay.
technology. And
Yes.
then to Amagi, which is purely technology. It's also been a very interesting switch for you. So, did you see that from an HR professional perspective, there is a difference in the way, you manage people or the way you get things done in, an industrial setup versus technology setup?
I think, yeah, there will definitely be some level of difference that you experience because Quest was purely a services company where the agility, the scale was very different. Now, switch to Amagi, a product company where the kind of people, the skill sets that we have, the expectations of the leadership is way different than what I experienced in Quest. So that definitely adds a different flavor to your experience altogether. While your core HR principles or your fundamental concepts remain the same, but how I think and apply it to an organization like Amagi versus how I applied it at Quest is way different.
Yeah, absolutely. And doing so many things at the same time and, kind of changing so many industries, changing geographies must have been pretty challenging. And what I want to understand is how do you as an individual navigate challenges when the going gets tough? And any examples of any failures you'd like to give us, which you experienced, which you overcame, and what did you learn from them?
Yes, I think, see, one thing that I have realized, I think setbacks and failures are like inherent to anyone's journey towards success, right? Success just doesn't come easily. You will at some point experience setbacks, failures. You'll feel lost, and I'm no exception to it. And what matters in all this is how we are actually learning from this experiencing, adapting, and then just moving ahead, right? Rather than staying stuck in past. I think for me, if I had to really look at one example of failure is, like I told you, when I moved from various roles, then you end up becoming like a top, like you are on the top performers role. And then, and you suddenly go through a stage of burnout, and then you start experiencing a downward spiral. For me, that happened in my career in 2016, 17, and I suddenly started feeling lost that, I'm a good for nothing person. I can't perform in my roles and everything. But then I also knew I had to take control of my life, right? No one can come and solve things for me, or no one can come and tell me that, okay, give me your hand and I'll pull you out of it, right? So that is when I realized if I have to, overcome this, I have to, first just do something about it, right? And that is when I realized, this thing about asking for help, or just talk to people about it, and this is what I'm going. So I found mentors, I spoke to people, and started working towards it, I think. And one thing that probably has always helped me whenever I have faced a setback, personally or professionally, is the resilience of not giving up anytime, right? So I think that has definitely helped me. So perseverance and not, like that resilience towards things. And I think I probably have to thank my mother for that one.
No, that's true. And burnout is real. I mean, it's not just one fancy buzzword, it is real. And when you are kind of overexerting and you're going through things super fast and you're kind of at the peak of your career where you want to grab more
Yes.
opportunities, a lot of times you don't realize that you've actually burnt yourself out. And there are different coping mechanisms, there are different ways in which people try to rejuvenate themselves, and I'm great it worked out for you.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you also spoke to a few mentors, and of course, while the most important thing was the grit and the resilience which got you through, I want to understand who are the mentors you have looked up to over the course of your career, or who are your supporters? Like you mentioned your mother. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I think personally, if I had to, say my cheerleaders for my career have been three key people from my family. My mother, of course, because I think I remember growing up, or when I'm talking to my niece about it, I'll keep telling her, she's in her teens, so I keep talking to her about various things and life skills and stuff. And I remember my mother always told me, and see, I come from a small town where my parents or their generation has probably been from the rural side and have moved to a city. They have been the first generation coming to a city, and and I'm from a family where I don't think anyone in my parents generation, the women, have been career oriented, right? But my mother has always been imbibing these values equally between my brother, my sister, and me, that you have to have an education that will help you be independent in your life. Come what may, the life throws at you, you should be able to face it alone. So I remember that specifically from my mother. I think I'm so thankful for her to just build in that resilience in me, right? Just to be that fiercely independent. And if I could sail through anything, was because of that thing that she imbibed in me, right? And so that definitely helped me. And then I think my husband and my brother-in-law, right? They've my husband has always told me that you need to focus on your career, forget don't worry about household things alone. It's not your responsibility alone. So we talk about sharing the load and other things, right? I think, we go back right from the time we've been married. I've seen my husband be an equal partner in anything we do at home. So if I'm not in Belgaum today, he manages the household like spick and span even better than me, right? So I think that matters a lot. And thirdly, my brother-in-law, right? He's been my sounding box if I have to make a decision or anything. So these three people from my family. And professionally, if I had to speak about people I have been associated during my work journey, I've been very lucky to have amazing mentors at every stage in my career. Be it my manager in Thermax, Shivangi Page, or my CEO from the company I worked in, Belgaum, Mr. Vinayak Lokur. Everyone has contributed, but like I told you, Quest has been like the turning point for me, and I had four people who really helped me turn around things, or influenced me, or shaped me as a professional. One is Sonia Kuti. She's the global HR head, and with her, I did various assignments in Quest, right? Customer carve-outs, M&A, the Trivandrum assignment that I spoke about. Even when I was in North America, I worked very closely with her. And she's been so inspiring for me. She's influenced, that ability to be a leader, being humble, and just being there fiercely as a woman, standing up there, in this world. I think I've always been inspired by her. And second is Ashish Golwalkar, who was my manager in Quest. And, luckily we got to work together in Amagi. And so he influenced a lot in my mindset, right? Having come from a small town, not having had an exposure to larger teams. So, he helped me shape my mindset, get in that collaborative mindset, have the growth mindset and everything. So he influenced me a lot there. And then Mr. Kapil Bakshi is the sales leader Quest had at one point, but then we continue to be in touch. If I have any confusion today, without a blink of an eye, I reach out to Kapil saying this is what I want. And then he helped me. I think beyond HR, I think he's influenced a lot of my thinking process, how I need to be, confident, stand out among the rest. And then I think last but not the least is Gopi Krishna. He's been my manager for 6 years. And I think whatever I've learned, been able to grow, think, develop that strong work ethics and strong values, and the courage to speak up or courage to stand up for the right thing, I think I owe a lot to him. I think these are four people who have influenced me heavily in my career among all the other people. I think, there are many people I keep learning from, but this, yeah, four people who I owe a lot in my career for sure.
And that's amazing. And they always say that a successful woman always has one a fierce mother who wants her to grow and get an education and not be any less than a man. They also have supportive partners who are always standing by them in their journey and supporting their growth, and of course
Yes.
great mentors and great managers. And many thanks to all the people you mentioned, Shivangi,
Yes, I'm definitely very grateful.
Kapil and Gopi Krishna, for being there with you in their journey. So that's amazing.
And I'm definitely grateful for, I'm sorry I interjected, but I'm very grateful to all these people who have influenced me in my life, right? Like you said, it takes a fierce mother to influence you. Like for me, in my professional journey, Sonia was that person, right? Who would always make me speak up, stand up, who could also get me out of that people pleasing aspect of my personality, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely makes sense. And since we're talking about leadership in general, today the landscape is constantly changing. When you're looking at HR in general, we had the great resignation, now we had the great layoff, and now we're having the great stay, right? So employee needs and even the landscape itself is very, very invariably changing. What, according to you, are the steps that HR leaders can take or should take to address these changing needs of their employees?
Yeah. I think, as HR leaders, one thing that we need to remember is we are like the conscience keeper for the organization, right? I think we have to ensure that we're doing right things for the organization and as well as for the employees, right? We are that balancing factor. So having said that, I think the first and foremost role I see for any HR leader is to ensure that they are the sounding box of the employees who can take the message to the management and vice versa, right? And so focus on people has never is has always has to be there. I'm sorry, I think I'll just re-say that. I know would redo that. Okay, so I said, like, as HR leaders, I think staying focused on people goes unsaid, right? We have to because our people dynamics keep changing. Like, we spoke about generation X, Y, and then there's millennials, and then Gen Z. Then we talk about zillennials, right? The generation between millennials and Gen Z. So the workforce dynamics keep changing. The priorities probably I don't see my younger colleagues having, right? So that definitely is changing. And with that comes an important element of maintaining or fostering that, work culture, which encourages open and transparent communication, psychological safety, where employees are comfortable expressing what they feel, their concerns and ideas, right? Where there is no scope for fear for them to think or to be themselves. And whatever said and done, we need to know that work is no longer going to be in office, right? Flexibility in work arrangements is going to be there. People are going to have their needs, where probably you'll have to look at flexible work arrangements, remote work, alternative work schedules. Just make it happen for people, because people, when they are engaged and when they know their needs are being met, I'm sure everyone is going to be productive also, right? And then give back to the organization the same way. And appreciate, acknowledging that your employees are contributing to the growth of the organization and achievements of the organization equally as much as the founders or the senior leadership is doing, and fostering that positive work environment, right, where there is empowerment, where people look at the organization as a, where they look at themselves being a part of the organization's growth, where that which drives ownership than just a feeling of entitlement, right? We want to drive ownership but not entitlement, because otherwise what will happen is employees tend to become very entitled in a culture where it's more like a give and take thing. Yeah, so that's something I really feel HR leaders could definitely start looking at, right? Because there will be challenges, great resignations. These are all phases the industry goes through, right? So
No, makes sense. And I totally agree with you on the fact that, there needs to be a psychological safety associated with employees when they're working in whatever setup they're working in and whatever environment they're working in, for them to actually be more comfortable and be more, I'd say, they feel that the company is actually supporting them. Second is primarily around, like you said, a positive work environment where people take ownership, and hence the more ownership you have, the higher productive you become eventually. And I loved your point on appreciation, where it's important to constantly recognize and appreciate employees for all the good work that they do. So, talking about appreciation itself, would love to understand what have been your innovative ideas around recognition or engagement programs in your past roles or your current role to drive better employee experiences.
I think employee recognition, it's like an unsaid rule, right? You have to, see, I think recognition as human beings itself has been a motivating factor for us. We even getting a simple compliment or, a good job. Like if I remember, even today when I'm talking to my nephew on phone and he gets a star in school, or, he gets 2 stars. First thing he wants to come and show us, right? He tells, I got 2 stars. So imagine the amount of joy that brings in. So there is that, acknowledgement for what they have been doing. So there is this inherent need to feel recognized. Not everyone is beyond that phase where, I don't care about recognition, right? And when I know I'm appreciated, I'm recognized for the efforts I'm putting, I'm definitely more, I would probably strive more for the organization, right? Because for me, um, there are 3 key pillars of engagement, or 3 things that drive engagement is say, stay and strive, right? How positively I'm saying, what are the positive things I say about the organization, um, how much I'm willing to stay with the organization, and how much I'm willing to strive for the organization, right? So for me, these 3 things are what speak about engagement, about an employee in the organization. And throughout my career, we have seen how, rewards, like recognition programs being innovated and changed as we've gone on. And one element that we've tried to take care of is try to not make these programs an overkill, right? When they're not there just for the sake of it being there. I think if I had to look to probably share one very innovative thing that we have tried to do in the past is personalizing rewards, right? So we've tried to, rather than just give someone a voucher, or someone just a cash in their payroll, we've also tried to see how we can make it special for some, right? So I remember when we were running a special program in our organization, we ensured that we got the employee something they were very fond of, right? It was an employee of the month program that we were running, but employee of the quarter. But anyone who got that award would probably get something that they were very fond of. Like I remember one of our colleagues was into collecting trains, or was very fond of trains. So there was a very classical train set that was gifted to him. And then there was another colleague who was very fond of gaming, and so we got a gaming chair for him, right? So personalizing rewards, or bringing in experiences in rewards, so rather than just making it all about money. And second is, apart from the reward associated, how much you elevate the entire experience of being rewarded, right? How does my organization see how much I'm celebrating it? Where is that instant gratification happening for my reward? So then all of these things have to come together and be done right. And to do it right, I think apart from HR, the managers play a huge role in it, right? So one thing that we have always strived in doing is educating managers and empowering them to recognize their teams, right? So the moment you make your reward programs very bureaucratic, saying that if I have to give this person one award, okay, I'll have to take 10 approvals, then you're again killing the purpose, right? So how much are we encouraging managers to give instant rewards, where they can take decisions, how are we empowering our HRBPs to take their decisions, right? So all these elements go well. I think they all have to come together in the right way to have a good employee recognition program in place. And only then it will drive engagement. Otherwise, it kind of just becomes a tick in the box.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And personalization is really, really essential when you're looking at, providing reward structures, because ideally, if you're providing that level of customization for a consumer, then they also not only are happy about what they're getting, but they also feel that, okay, this company has taken some effort to care about me. And, it's something not which is just what everybody else is getting, something off the beat. And I think one of the things which we've also tried to do internally on Advantage Club is try to use AI and ML more to identify more personalized suggestions for users, because how people behave typically, it kind of not only is individually unique to them, it's also organization wise unique to them. So
Correct. Yeah.
most people in the same organization kind of behave in a similar manner. So identifying that pulse and also leveraging that is, I think, amazing. And
Yes.
like you mentioned, how you're celebrating it, I think that is super important. If I'm just giving a reward to someone and just saying good job to everybody else, and it's just the same citation, it just doesn't add to any excitement. You have to create a wow factor for the person getting the reward as well. And manager empowerment, extremely important. Too many approval matrices kind of kills the flow of the rewarding itself. And by the time the person actually gets the reward, the excitement of completing something or getting something kind of has gone away. So I love your points around recognition and how we can drive it in a better manner. Lastly, I know you've been, and I think we're out of time now, so we're going to wrap up. But this is my last question to you. You've been in industry since 16 years and more, right? So it's been a long journey, and a lot of people who are probably new and they're looking at, aspiring to be leaders in their life. This is something for them. So what is the one thing you wish somebody had told you early on during your career journey, which you'd like to tell all the young people who are inspired and want to kind of grow in their life further?
So I think something I wish I would have learned very much earlier in my career, or something that probably I wish someone would probably hammered it in my head, was ask for help, right? Ask for help. You don't have to struggle all by yourself. That is not the measure of your success, that if you ask for help, you're a failure. Ask for help. Don't stay stuck where you are. And then I think the second thing I remember when I was having my conversation with Sonia last year, and I was telling her, but something, and then see, success will come and go, right? And that's okay. You don't have to always be successful. There will be ups and downs in life. That's okay. Don't measure. Don't go by the definition of success the world has created. Define your own success criteria, and just go by that. Right? And then I think, and for all the women leaders, aspiring women leaders out there, and what I've typically seen as a very difference in like a behavioral difference is, I think as women we tend to be wanting to be very perfect for a job we want to apply for. So even if you're not meeting one criteria of the 10 listed, we are very hesitant to apply for those roles. So my message there goes, just don't be afraid to apply for something you feel you would enjoy doing, even if you don't meet all the criteria. I'm sure you will learn along the process. I think that's the best career advice I got very recently from from my friend. So that's something I would like to share.
No, that's amazing. So first is primarily, just to summarize, ask for help, don't assume.
Yes.
You assume, the more you get stuck, and the more you get stuck, the lesser you perform. And then it's just like a vicious cycle, which
Yes,
puts you
definitely.
in a really bad shape eventually. And like you said, define your own success. Don't go by the stereotype of success which society has created, because what is visible probably out in the outside might not be true on the inside. And
Yes.
don't wait to be perfect, just take the plunge, take more risks, find more ways to get what you want without waiting on being perfect for that particular opportunity. So
Yes.
amazing advice. And thank you so much, Girija. With that, we're at the end of the podcast session. I'm sure our viewers will love to hear you and learn a lot from you. We are really privileged to have you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was great interacting with you, and thanks to you, I think I got to do my first podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.